And we welcome you into the Unrivaled Postgame show. Great battle today between 13th ranked Penn State and 2nd ranked Ohio State here at Beaver Stadium. 44-31 the final score. Joined here by head coach James Franklin. Brian Tripp, thrilled to be with you once again. And coach, what was your message to the team after this one?
Yeah, I love them. I'm proud of them. We obviously played our tail off, but we made too many mistakes against a really good opponent to think you're going to be able to come out and get a win against that type of opponent.
Yeah, that's the thing. In a game like this, the margin for error is so thin against a great team. What are some of the things that you emphasize with your team as you learn from this performance?
Well, I didn't do it right now because now's really not the time for that. But what I'll do on Sunday is obviously it starts and ends with the turnovers. Can't turn the ball over against that type of opponent and expect to win. I thought our defense did a good job of battling to allow us to overcome the first couple, but then too many.
When you look at this game, your team continued to battle despite getting off to a slow start. What do you like about their fight from start to finish?
Well, I wouldn't say our team got off to a slow start. Offensively, we got off to a little bit of a slow start, but we were leading at halftime against one of the better teams in the country, so I don't know if I would necessarily describe it that way. But we did some good things. We moved the ball up and down the field offensively. We made plays on defense. To me, the game starts and ends with the turnovers.
What was the difference down the stretch for them?
Yeah, they're a very talented team. We kept turning the ball over.
Coach, appreciate the time.
Thank you.
Thank you. Penn State head coach James Franklin with us here post-game as the Nittany Lions fall to Ohio State by a 44-31 final score. Penn State, again, falls 44-31. Penn State in this game took a 21-16 lead early in the fourth quarter. Ohio State then was able to finish the fourth quarter strong, 28-10 down the stretch, outscoring Penn State. The Nittany Lions, again, fall behind 10-0 in this game. They go off to a little bit of a slow start offensively. The defense was trying to keep Penn State in. It made some big plays. Penn State then responded with an excellent second quarter. Parker Washington, a 58-yard reception from Sean Clifford. Keandre Lambert-Smith with a 23-yard reception from Sean Clifford for a touchdown. Penn State took a 14-10 lead as you take a look at Beaver Stadium. Crowd was awesome today with the stripe out. Just an awesome crowd. But then Ohio State, Noah Ruggles, made it a 14-13 game late in the second quarter. Penn State's defense got a stop at the end of the second quarter. Third quarter, Ohio State rallied, took the lead 16-14, but then Penn State punched back. The Nittany Lions take a 21-16 lead, but at the end, as Coach just talked about, turnovers were a difference here in the football game today, as Ohio State rattles off a 28-17 fourth quarter. Buckeyes scoring 28 points in that fourth quarter and scoring 28 of the last 38 points here today. As Coach said, turnovers were a big difference because when you start flipping through the box score and looking at some of the post-game numbers as the fans have filed out of Beaver Stadium, just an unbelievable crowd today of 108,433. Penn State, more first downs than Ohio State, better game on the ground, 111 rushing yards to 98 rushing yards for Ohio State. Penn State passing through for more yards today against a really, really talented offense. 32 of 47 through the air, 371 yards. Sean Clifford did have 3 touchdown passes. Obviously, at the end, his third touchdown, his 78th career touchdown pass. It sets a Penn State record. But the Nittany Lions were hoping to come out victorious today. It was a great battle. Parker Washington, career high, 11 catches, 179 yards, and a touchdown. And as we take a look back at some of the big plays by Washington here in this game, Parker was electric. The game plan was to get the ball in his hands in space early. Penn State's offense trying to get on track. Not only did he make the tough catches in traffic today, Parker Washington was able to make the explosive plays like Penn State needed to come out of this 10-0 hole. As they got off to a little bit of a slow start offensively, the defense made some big plays, kept them in the game. And here, Penn State down 10-0 early second quarter. There is Washington, absorbs contact, spins, breaks it to the outside, and takes it the distance for the touchdown for Penn State. That got Penn State on the board for the first time. 58 yards from Sean Clifford, Parker Washington, and Penn State get back in this game, down 10-0, 10-7. There's that great third down conversion. Washington extending. As I said, many of his 11 catches spectacular today. Penn State ends up going in front, 14-13. Washington in traffic, having to make some tough catches. Really was a great work by Washington as Penn State had the lead in the fourth quarter against one of the top teams in the country, second-ranked Ohio State. Played toe-to-toe with them today, but as Coach just talked about, just not able to make enough plays down the stretch, and that ultimately is the difference. Washington diving catch there. And as I said, Penn State's defense got off to a great start, and they battled with a great offense today. Penn State outgains Ohio State. The Penn State defense was tenacious. They held Henderson and Williams, who left the game injured, to a net total of 98 total yards on the ground for the Ohio State offense. Obviously, Stroud is a terrific passer, has a great receiving core. Harrison Jr. was so big for Ohio State today. 10 catches, 185 yards. Stover, 6 catches, 78 yards. But Penn State's defense came to play. They had to make those sudden change stops. Penn State's defense, when they were backed up down towards the red zone or just outside the red zone, held Ohio State to field goal opportunities, and ultimately, in the end, just were not able to get enough help in this game. The defense rising to the occasion time and time again. Fighting up front, Devon Ellies. It was a team effort. Devon Ellies with a big play there, trying to string out the running back. Here it's 10-7 second quarter. Throw to the outside. The secondary, Kalen King with a monster hit. Crowd was coming alive. Penn State all the momentum. Nittany Lions leading 14-10. Again, and needing to come up with a stop inside the red zone. Penn State's defense did that, made it a 14-13 game, and the defense at the end of the second quarter trying to take that lead into the locker room. Abdul Carter for a freshman with some big plays. And here right at the end of the first half, the hit in the backfield, fumble by Stroud, and Penn State's defense holds there. Penn State goes into the half with a 14-13 lead. Really was a valiant effort by that Penn State defense today. The only thing the defense was unable to do was to come up with a takeaway, which unfortunately was where Ohio State had the big edge in this game in the turnover battle. Penn State with 4 turnovers, and Ohio State with 21 points off of those turnovers. And when you look at the final margin, Penn State falls 44-31 against Ohio State. That ultimately was the difference. So the Nittany Lions are 6-2, 3-2 in the Big Ten. Ohio State, tremendous team, improves to 8-0 on the season, 5-0 in conference play. The Nittany Lions will be on the road next weekend to take on Indiana. That kick time will be announced tomorrow. So Penn State at Indiana next, and that kick time will be announced tomorrow. We're anticipating being joined here on our set by Jair Brown, still post-game, and also by Keandre Lambert-Smith. As you take a look at Beaver Stadium, the crowd was electric here today. So Sean Clifford, ups and downs today, led this team. He's tough. He's a battler. This team battled 44-24 late. Clifford and Penn State not done fighting. There is the record, 78th career touchdown pass. Sean Clifford, the first touchdown reception of what will be many in what is a terrific career for Kaytron Allen coming up. Allen with 12 rushes today, 76 yards and a touchdown. Allen also with 2 receptions today on 5 targets. He had 13 yards in the passing game and that touchdown. And again, Parker Washington with the big game, 11 receptions for 179 yards and a touchdown. So let's take a look at some of those big highlights from the combination of Allen and Singleton. Singleton also had 45 yards today. Penn State averaged 3.4 on the ground, but that factors in Clifford. Allen, 6.3 average, and Penn State needing the tough yardage. There it is in the fourth quarter. 9:28 to go. Penn State pounds it in what was just a crazy sequence near the goal line. Penn State was going to attempt a field goal. They end up getting a penalty. Go for it on 4th down. They convert in the short yardage. Penn State has the lead at that point. The ground game was good early. Ohio State made some adjustments. Then as this game went on, Penn State started to make those adjustments back, and the Nittany Lions, again, with some success on the ground from freshman running backs. It was crazy. I talked to Reggie Bush yesterday, who was here with the Fox Big at Noon kickoff crew, and he said for these 2 freshmen to perform at the level they have so far this year, it is an outstanding accomplishment because his freshman year at USC, and that's a tremendous back. He said he didn't have that type of success. That's a lot of praise for Kaytron Allen and Nicholas Singleton. It reminds you in many ways the ability that Saquon Barkley had in his freshman year to contribute to Penn State offensively. But obviously here, Penn State put up just a tremendous fight against the Buckeyes today, falling though to Ohio State 44-31, ultimately down the stretch in the fourth quarter. The difference, Ohio State, it was that swing right there. Penn State took the lead at 9:26. Ohio State retakes the lead on the Travion Henderson touchdown run at 8:51. A strip sack in the very next play. Stover, a touchdown reception from Stroud. The tight end was good for the Buckeyes. And Ohio State, with those 2 quick strikes, takes a 21-16 Penn State lead and goes in front 30-21. Penn State rallied a 44-yard field goal by Jake Pinniger to make it 30-24. But then Ohio State, again, back-to-back scores. Henderson and then their defensive lineman, JT Tuimoloau, had just a monster game. A couple of interceptions, factored in another one. And was all over the place on that defensive line. Big-time playmaker for Ohio State. Eichenberg, their linebacker, had 15 tackles today. Penn State defensively, Jair Brown with 8 tackles, paced the Nittany Lions, Keaton Ellis with 5. Penn State's defense was really, really good, but just could not come up with that one big play, in Ohio State on the turnovers capitalized. And that was the difference in what was a really entertaining football game. Unfortunately, someone had to win and someone had to lose, and the Nittany Lions come up short by a 44-31 final today. They gave Ohio State absolutely everything that it could handle here. Penn State with a valiant effort. They were gutsy. Penn State fought the entire game, rallied again, had the lead in the fourth quarter. This team really battled, and I know that the coaching staff is extremely proud of Penn State's effort as the Nittany Lions fall 44-31. But left it all out on the field. That's all you can ask. A big day for Parker Washington, a game that stings here afterwards. But Penn State, if you look statistically, outgains Ohio State, does well to get off the field on third downs. Field position, something that they probably would have liked to be a little bit better in today. And then obviously the turnovers comes in, and that stings, as Penn State had a lot of success moving the football here in this football game. 44-31, the final score. The Nittany Lions fall to Ohio State. Penn State on the road at Indiana next weekend. Then the Nittany Lions will be back at home to take on Maryland, at Rutgers, and home against Michigan State. Still 2 more chances to come out and be a part of great crowds here, like that student section at Beaver Stadium that was rocking today for this noon kickoff. It was a tremendous environment. Penn State trying to ride that crowd. And that crowd made a difference with the delay of games, the false start. That crowd had a high impact on the game today. And you can certainly tell what makes Beaver Stadium one of the greatest environments, I think the greatest environment in all of college football. But unfortunately, Penn State falls by a 44-31 final score. So the Nittany Lions come up short by a 44-31 final score. And we're going to get Jair Brown and Keandre Lambert-Smith here with us in just a moment. And Keandre is going to come on over and join us here. I know it's a tough one today. He really battled out there on the field. Had a great touchdown reception from Clifford of 23 yards. A 14-10 lead Penn State took at that point on what was just a battle. Penn State rallied here, and the Nittany Lions were able to take the lead in the fourth quarter, but unable to close it out late as Ohio State wins it 44-31. So we're joined by Keandre Lambert-Smith here post-game. I know it's a tough game. I know it's a tough result, but your team really battled today. What did you like about your fight?
I mean, it just showed the type of team we are, the perseverance, staying going our way. And, you know, we fought through it, made plays, and like you said, we played a hard-fought game. But at the end of the day, we gotta finish better and limit the mistakes.
I saw Coach come over to you, one of the first guys to greet you on the sideline after your touchdown. What did he say to you?
He said, you know, that's who you are, and, you know, let's build on this because, you know, just been battling a little stuff personal. So, and I mean, it was good to get another touchdown since week 1 and, you know, just building on that from here on out.
Obviously, I know the message is going to be tomorrow to clean up some of the mistakes and the turnovers, but you guys moved the ball up and down the field offensively today. What did you like about your offense?
I mean, we just show, like I said again, we just show what type of guys we are. We can play on a high level. We can play against a high-level team, and we can move the ball, and we're explosive. We got playmakers, so, I mean, it was nice. It was nice to see what we did, but unfortunately, you know, we would still like to get the win.
I know, and, you know, individual accomplishments are one thing, but how much fun is it to watch number 3, Parker Washington, have the day like he had today, too?
Hey, like I just told him, you had a record-setting day. He's being tough on himself because obviously we lost the game, but, I mean, I made sure I told him, like, you had a hell of a game. I'm sorry, I don't know if I can say that word.
That word's okay.
But you had a great game, and like I said, just come in tomorrow ready to work. We're gonna build on that.
When you guys get back to work tomorrow, what's the focus? What's the first thing you do when you get in that building?
Just watch the film, like you said, clean up the MAs. Just look at what we did wrong. How did we hurt ourselves, and, you know, teach ourselves like to limit that next game and weeks to come.
And the beauty of this is you get a chance to go 1-0 again next week.
For sure.
Appreciate it. Thanks so much.
Yes, sir.
Keandre Lambert-Smith with us here post-game as the Nittany Lions fall to Ohio State 44-31. the final score here today. So Penn State falls by a 44-31 final score. Let's run back through some of the highlights one more time here. Kicking it off in the opening quarter, there's Penn State coming out of the locker room. It was an unbelievable environment here at the Stripe Out. Noon game, didn't matter. Penn State fans, they'd be here if the game kicked off at 2 a.m. Ohio State driving in the opening quarter down the field, but Penn State's defense bending, not breaking. Ohio State has to settle for a field goal. It's a 3-0 Buckeye lead. Penn State's defense was swarming all day long. There's a big play made in the secondary by Zachy Wheatley. It was a team effort from that Penn State defense. Here's a 3rd and 1 for the Ohio State offense. Early second quarter already with a 10-0 lead, and Penn State's defense comes up with the stop. Then the offense starts to get on track. It was a huge day for Washington. Here he breaks a tackle, spins, goes down the sideline, 58 yards. Washington darting to the end zone, never going to catch him. Touchdown Penn State, and Penn State right back in it 10-7 as they come up with an explosive play, which is something Coach always talks about. Ohio State next possession trying to get that run game going, but that defense was smothering today. Great play by Devon Ellies in the backfield. 10-7 to score. 3rd and 5, and then Kalen King cuts him down, comes bursting in off the end, accelerates, plants him. 10-7 to score. Penn State gets the ball right back. Clifford then steps up in the pocket. What an athletic play here. Stays at the line of scrimmage, chucks it downfield. Theo Johnson the catch along the sideline. Sets up Penn State with a 1st down and 10 from the 23-yard line. Clifford strike down the middle. The guy we just talked to, Keandre Lambert-Smith. Touchdown, Nittany Lions. And Penn State takes a 14-10 lead. Beaver Stadium rocking. Ohio State cuts the deficit to 1, 14-13. Late second quarter, Buckeyes driving. Penn State's defense, Abdul Carter, just a freshman, getting a taste of big-time Big Ten college football today, gets the pressure on Stroud, and then Ohio State another opportunity as they converted a long play, get down towards the goal line, and there's the Penn State defense again. Nittany Lions would take the lead going in to the second half. Penn State here 16-14. Nittany Lions didn't have a ton going offensively in that third quarter. Defense keeps Penn State within 2, but Parker Washington showing up and showing out in the fourth quarter. Great, spectacular diving catch by Washington. 11 receptions, 179 yards, and a touchdown. Penn State, crazy sequence, field goal, not to field goal, go for it, 4th and 1. Warren makes the tough catch. Then Katron Allen finds Pater. Final score not indicative of the type of game this was. Penn State takes the lead there as the Nittany Lions go in front, 21-16. As they do that with 9:26 to play in the fourth quarter. Ohio State broke off a couple of big plays. Henderson here, and Ohio State outscores Penn State 28-17 in the fourth quarter. And the final score today, 44-31. Ohio State defeats Penn State, and Penn State never stops fighting. That's the important thing here about this team. Penn State never quits here in this football game. As we're joined by Jair Brown now post-game, take a look at some of the final highlights of this game back on our set here on the Unrivaled post-game show. And Tig, I just said, your team battles and fights. How proud are you of the effort today?
I'm extremely proud of the guys. You know, we put a lot of work into this week. Really wanted to come in here and get it. You know, we fell short, but, you know, it's about the effort. You know, it's about the environment, the atmosphere, you know, and the young guys get to experience a game like this. Ohio State did a hell of a job, you know, playing and they're executing their game plan down the stretch. And, you know, hats off to them. They played a great game. I
know you have so much respect for your opponent. Your team was right there with them from start to finish today. What challenges did they present that certainly may have made a difference in the end?
I think they got into a tempo, mindset, you know, just getting going, getting guys up the field and just playing real fast. And causing us problems to line up and stuff like that. So, you know, great adjustment at halftime by their coaching staff. It was great. It was a great game plan. They came out, they executed, and they pulled it off.
What would you say about the effort from your defense, particularly in that first half on the sudden changes in the red zone to make sure that you were mentally tough and provided your team an opportunity to get right back in this football game?
Ohio State is one of the best red zone teams in the country, if not the best red zone team in the country.
100%, 31 out of 36
100%,
touchdowns.
You know, so we knew that coming in, but like I said, we're up for any challenge. We're up for any offense. You know, we pride ourselves on defense, you know, and Coach Manning does a great job at, you know, just helping us, you know, keeping us in that mindset of belief, faith, you know, execution and trust. And, you know, when we turned the ball over or we got they got a turnover, and it was sudden change in red zone, we just went out there with that same attitude, that same mindset, and played it like any other defensive down.
I know Coach goes into that locker room and tells you guys how much he loves you. That's the first thing he's going to do after every game, whether it's a win or a loss. And you have an opportunity to go 1-0 again next week as a leader. What's also your role in this situation now?
My role is to get the guys to keep going, you know, keep the guys high spirit, and just let them know we let one slip away. and we got to come out next week, you know, and capitalize even more and execute even more and just really push the throttle, you know, just try to be the best team we can be within these last weeks of football.
Look forward to seeing how the team learns from this, grows from this, and going 1-0 again next week. Thanks
Absolutely.
so much. Really appreciate it.
Yep, thank you.
Jair Brown with us here post-game. Penn State falls to Ohio State by a 44-31 final score. Ross Woomer did great work back in our production suite, getting this show queued up today in front of what was a great crowd at Beaver Stadium. Over 108,000 witnessed Penn State go toe-to-toe with the number 2 team in the country, but fall just short ultimately at the end. Penn State had the lead in the fourth quarter, unable to close it out. This one's going to sting. But Penn State, an opportunity again next week on the road at Indiana. That kick time will be announced tomorrow. Thanks so much for tuning into the Unrivaled post-game show live here from Beaver Stadium. I'm Brian Tripp saying so long. We'll talk to you on Wednesday with our next Unrivaled weekly preview, and then post-game next week after the game against the Hoosiers in Bloomington. Have a great day.